Hi, Amy at Fashion Toppings here with a little sewing video that I need an apron. And this has been in my bag since maybe last year when I did one of my first thrift hauls. This was a 99-cent find. It's an ugly dress that I thought I'd do something with. Well, the reason I'm going to make this into an apron is it's got pockets, so I can keep the pockets. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to tear this apart, and really easy, we're going to make it into an apron, and I'm just going to cut off some of my spare black material to use for a strap around the waist. Now, one thing about this dress is it does have a zipper right here down the side, which doesn't work very well. So, but my pockets, see, here's the zipper line right here. The pocket's on the other side of the zipper. So I'm going to have to remove the pockets, move the pockets to the front, and I'm just going to cut right along my side seams to be the front of the apron. This is going to be really easy. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down the side seam. I'm not even going to worry about seam ripping it. Okay, so got the one side released, and I'm just going to cut right along the zipper because I don't want to use that zipper. I'm going to cut right around the pocket, and I'll remove that later. Okay, so my side seams are released. So you can see that. I saved my pockets. I'm going to move them over. So we'll cut those off in just a minute. So next thing is I'm going to remove, I'm going to cut right along the seam, or right above the seam. Then I can just fold it over to hem it. I'm cutting about 1/2 inch above my seam. This will be the bottom part of my apron. So I'm left with this. This is going to be the front part of my apron. Okay. We're going to use the back material to make the square that will come up along the front. So, I'm going to cut right along my seam line because I don't know how much material I'm going to need yet. We're going to save this to be able to cut the front, so put that to the side. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get my seam ripper, and I'm going to remove the pockets. And I will do that real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the bottom of the skirt. I took the pockets off. I cleaned the pockets up from all the strings and removed the buttons. Next, we have that rough, this is the front of the skirt where the pockets were. We have that rough edge that we cut. See, here's the back side of it. This rough part here at the top. Now what we need to do is we're going to fold that under and pin it right along the seam line. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so here is my original seam, because remember I said cut above the seam on the top part of the dress? See, there's the seam right there. I'm folding it so my seam is right here. That'll help me keep a nice straight edge. The salvage will be hidden. So I'm going to pin all the way around, folding that raw edge under so I have a nice neat top. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that all under. I'll keep folding it and I'll be right back. Okay, now I have my entire top part of my, it's going to be my apron right here, entire top folded down so I have a nice neat edge, and all the rough cut is on the back side. Now what I need to do is go down the side and fold towards the wrong side of the fabric. So my side seams, I'm just going to fold them down, all the way down the side of the skirt. Fold it, about 1/2 inch, making sure I'm straight, and I'm going to pin it. And the waistband is going to be hidden by the black material that we're going to use for the tie that goes around the waist. So you don't have to worry about how neat your little corner is. That's all going to be hidden by our black strap. So I'm going to go ahead and keep pinning this, and I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, so I have all three sides because my bottom was already hemmed. I didn't touch my bottom hem. It's original hem. I have all three sides folded over 1/2 inch so I can put a new, clean, finished edges on everything. So I've got my waistband pinned so that my seam line is up here. I pinned all the way down the sides, making sure that when I folded the material, the stripe matches up with the other side. It's so nice. Some people are afraid to work with stripes. I think stripes are fantastic because, yeah, sometimes they can be difficult to work with, but it's built-in guidelines. I mean, you can just, you fold it over and you make sure that the stripe on one side matches the stripe on the back so that when you're folding it, it'll keep it straight. So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'm going to do a straight stitch all along my pin line along the top and then the pin line down the side and that side so that I will have a nice finished clean looking front of my apron. So I'm going to go do a straight stitch right along my pin lines and I'll be right back. Okay, now I have, as you can see, I finished my edges all the way down each side, along the top. So all my sides are nice and clean. So the bottom part of the apron is done except for putting pockets on it. Now this is the back of the skirt that I cut off. What I did is I folded it in half so that I would have a nice, and then I made one new cut along the open edge. I did that so that I had a perfect square. All the sides were even. So I folded it in half and I just trimmed up my raw edge here because it was pretty crooked. Okay, so the reason I'm folding it in half, what I'm going to be doing is, so it's double, it'll be nice on the front, nice on the back, but on my fold, see my top has my finished hem. This is the bottom of the skirt. So the top has a finished edge, so I won't have to do any hemming. I'll have a nice finished edge at the top of my apron. And also, I'm going to put the straps in between here, sandwich in between here, and sew it shut so that my straps will look nice and neat too. So that is why I'm going to be folding it in half. Now, first what we need to do is put it on yourself. How high up do you want your apron? And then remember, when you're cutting, you're going to have to cut at least a 1/2 inch below to 1 inch below where you want it because we're going to have to hide it down into the skirt and then sew it in. So we want to leave seam allowance. So 1/2 inch to 1 inch, whatever you're comfortable with. So I am going to, I want mine to be about this high so I don't get any splatters from grease on my clothes. And I want it to fit to about this black stripe. So I'm actually going to cut in the middle of this white stripe right here. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right there. Okay, open it up, fold your right sides, so your good side of your fabric is touching each other. Wrong side of the fabric is on the outside. And just pin down your open edge. Okay, go ahead and do that next. As you can see, I pinned down my one side, and now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to do a straight stitch right down my pins. So my top will be open, and the bottom will be open, so it's going to be easy. We're going to flip it inside right next. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and just do a straight stitch right down my pin line, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now I sewed down my one edge. You can see the little black line right here. Now it's time to turn it inside right. Now, I'm just going to pin it on here for now so I can deal with my straps. Now you kind of see where I'm going with this. See? It's going to be a nice little plaid, Burberry inspired apron. Okay, the next step is to make the straps for the shoulder. So I'm going to cut off some fabric. Okay, this is leftover material from my curtains. Okay, I cut out my long strip. It is 4 inches wide. 4 inches wide by 84 inches long. The reason it's so long is, one, we're going to fold it in half, like we make our belts, and we're going to stitch down one side. We're going to turn it inside right, but we're going to be attaching it here, and then we're going to attach another one over on this side. this one will be attached on this side. And then I want to be able to have a big bow in the back. So I'm gonna be able to tie it behind my neck. And I'm gonna cut another one the same length, 84 inches long and 4 inches wide, because it's gonna also be my one is gonna be for my waistband. Then I'll also have a little tie bow in the back. Okay, it's gonna go around my waist. So cut 2 strips, 4 inches wide. So 4 inches wide. If you want a wider waistband and wider straps, go ahead and go wider. But I went 4 inches because I know I'm gonna have a seam allowance and I'm gonna lose a little bit of my width because I'm gonna fold in half and I'm gonna stitch all the way down my one open side to connect the 2 seams together. And I leave the top and the bottom open so that I can turn it inside right. So you're gonna fold it in half, right side's facing in, so the right sides are facing each other, out the ugly side or the bad side of the fabric is on the outside. You're going to just stitch right down your 2 raw edges, all the way down until you've gone all the way down your 84 inches, and then flip it inside right. Now do this twice. I'm gonna do it to this one because this is my neck, and I'm gonna cut another one the same length, 84 inches long by 4 inches wide. Do the same thing so that I also have one for my waistband. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out my next strip and sew down my raw edges, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I sewed my long tube and just put 1 straight stitch right down my rough edge. It's kind of rough because I forgot I'm using a denim needle because of this, and I forgot to switch my needle, so I used denim needle on this thin, fragile fabric. So now it's inside out. I'm just gonna keep shoving it in there to turn it inside right. So, okay, then once you have it turned inside right, you're going to take your rough edges and you're going to tuck them in, inside the hole, because your ends are open, remember? So just tuck them in and pin them into place so that they stay tucked in. Then what you're going to do is, remember what a top stitch is. A top stitch is when you're sewing on the right side of the fabric, just along your edges. So I did that here. It needs to be ironed. I should have ironed it first, but I'm running out of time. I have dinner almost ready, and I have to have this done before dinner's ready. Okay, so I did top stitch. I just ran a straight stitch along this edge, all the way down, and then across, and then all the way back up. So across my open edge, all the way down to the bottom, across the open edge, and all the way back up. So the entire border of your strap is top stitched. Like I said, this has to be ironed yet. So now this strap, in order to make the straps that go around our neck, I'm folding it in half so that both halves will be the exact same length, and I'm going to cut. As my husband texted me, let me know another storm is on the way, so I really need to move this project along. So now I have 2 pieces. So what I'm going to do with these 2 pieces is, remember, we have this material folded in half, or we have it folded in half, and we left that top open. We're just going to sandwich a strap right in there, and I'm going to just match it up with that black strap that's already there, the black stripe, so it'll look nice and neat. Okay, and pin that into place. Okay, 1 strap there. Now put the other strap, making sure it's the rough edge we just cut. I'm going to hide that down in here, doing the sandwich between the material, and I'm lining it up with my stripes. If you don't have stripes on your skirt that you're making into an apron, just measure from each side. The straps are going to look. Then we twist around the back. See, I don't like the kind of aprons that fit over the top of your head, because half the time when I'm out in the backyard, it's not going to look so cute. Half the time when I'm in the backyard, I'm wearing a hat, and I can't get a hat with those pull over aprons. And when we have company, that means I'm taking my hat off, and you've all seen me with hat head. And when we have company, company does not see me with that head. So this way, tie it in the back, gives it a little girly look, but also allows me to keep my hat on and not have to fit something over my head. So next, I'm gonna take my other strap to the sewing machine and get it finished up. Okay, I have my other strap done with the top stitching on top and bottom. Now, fold it in half to find center. Okay, and put a pin so that you know where the center is. So there, I know where the center of my thing is. Now, to make sure that we're putting everything on straight, taking my skirt, folding it in half, putting a pin in at center, the center front. So we know that everything needs to line up. Now, same with this. Fold it in half and pin center. I got it center marked, and then I'm going to match up center to center because everything's got a pin on it for center. Okay, now I've connected the center front of the top of my apron to the center front of my bottom part of my apron, and now I want to pin straight across, holding the two together, nice and smooth. Okay, now, so you can see, all I did is I pinned a straight line connecting the bottom of my apron to the top of my apron. And now I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and remember, we haven't finished this top part yet. So what I'm going to do is, remember, I sandwiched my straps in here and pinned. Sandwiched my straps between these two layers and pinned. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to do a top stitch right across my straps all the way along here. Basically, I can stitch right on top of my, where you see a visible hem stitch. See that little black line right here? I'm just going to sew right on top of it. So I'm going to sew straight across, catching my straps that are sandwiched in between. I'm going to sew straight across, all the way across my straps where it's sandwiched inside here, so I'm catching the strap. And then I'm going to come down, top stitch along that edge. As soon as I get to my waistband, I'm going to top stitch across here, so I'm making a big square. And then right back up again where I started. Let me go do that right now, and I will be right back. Okay, I have it all sewn together. Let's see how it's starting to look. The top and everything's attached. What's it going to look like? Just have to put the strap on now on the waist. Pull it back so you can see. Now the strap that we already made, fold it right over, pull it out to the back, make sure both strings are the same length, and pin it to my waistband. Okay. Pin it all the way around. Okay, so now I pinned my strap right to the waistband. This, so you can see that a little better. So I just pinned straight across my waistband, attaching my strap to my waistband. Now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I am going to do a top stitch right along the bottom, right in my current stitch line. From where my skirt starts, there's the skirt right here. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go all the way across, stopping when I get to the other end of the skirt right here. Then I'm going to cut up, and then I'm going to serge along the top line right here, connecting this little band to the top. We're just going to attach this band to our apron. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, well, here's my apron. It's cute. Now, if you decide that you want to put pockets on it, like not everybody's gonna have pockets on their skirts. I save my pockets. And now all I have to do is find where I want to place them, pin them on, one pocket right there. And then I'll put the other pocket, line out my stripes. Another pocket here. Okay, so I have my pockets pinned on, so this is what it's going to look like. Now, all you do is if you're going to do pockets, I got to make sure that they're centered. Okay, if you want to do pockets, I just pinned them on, and you're just going to sew around the 3 sides, leaving the top open. So I'm going to top stitch along the side, across the bottom, and back up the side, and that's it, leaving the top open. I'm going to do the same thing to here. Down the side, across the bottom, and back up, leaving the top open. So I'm going to go add pockets to this little apron. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, well, it's done. I love my little pockets. Okay, so I took that ugly dress and made it into a cute, simple little apron. I love it. My string was actually, using the 84 inches, my string was actually long enough to wrap around the back and then back around to the front, which I like better. There we go. Cute little bow in the front, and then the back with my little bow on the back. So there we go. I like it. Well, Chloe says it's time for me to finish making dinner, so got to bring this video to an end. Please click like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. But until then, this is Amy of Fashion Toppings. Until next time, you have a great day.